Good morning, everyone. We're very excited to be hosting this webinar of what's new and coming in SmartSuite. We have some extremely excited announcements to make today, and I'm pleased to introduce our CEO, Jon. And so without further ado, Jon, why don't you take it away?
Thank you, Avi. It's a pleasure to host the next What's New at SmartSuite edition here today. And we have a couple of housekeeping items that I was asked to go over first for some of the people that are newer to SmartSuite. Just wanted to remind people that in the bottom right of our product, you can always click and get help from our team by having a direct conversation with us, searching through help, seeing kind of news articles and things that are happening at SmartSuite. But also we host the office hours every morning at 9 a.m. PST. That's a live office hours where you can just join by clicking join here. Ask any questions that you have of our team, listen into other questions that other people might be asking as well. But that's just free and available each at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you haven't already done so, please consider joining the SmartSuite community. That's another great place to ask questions about how to do specific things in workflows where maybe it's not a feature request, but you just want the community to try to help you build something. And then the SmartSuite Academy is a place that allows you to come in, and we have about 130 different videos and training courses that are available on all different types of topics that are available. And then lastly, I'll just reinforce that if you have feature requests, you can come right here to feature requests by clicking the icon. You can click in, see our product roadmap, the status of every feature that's been requested by every customer. You can vote and comment on those features. And as you do, it links you back to that particular feature request. So as we make updates or request additional information, you'll always be notified of that particular feature request. And then you're also able to view just the feature request that you voted or commented on to see the current status of all the items that are important to you. Okay. So let's jump in. There's two different sections today that we're going to cover. The first is the series of product updates that have been made over the last 6 to 8 weeks. And then we're going to jump into some interesting concepts around AI that we've been working on here for a while that's there. So if I was to summarize the work that's been done in the last couple of months at SmartSuite, we've had a core focus around improvements for power users, solution managers, people that are building workflows to just make things easier, reduce clicks, just to make it faster for you to be able to implement things. So I'm going to start with kind of our grid view and just hit you with a few little things just to make sure that you're aware, and then hit you with a few pro tips that people have asked me to point out to make sure that everybody understands the shortcuts that you could take to get things done. The first one that you'll notice here is we have a new icon in the corner of each of the drop downs for the column heading. It saves just a little bit of space so you can have a little bit longer field names that are available here. If you are adding help text to a particular field type, you can come into the help text, and I'm just going to say adding help text here. And as you add the help text, we now show an icon next to the ones that have help text enabled that are here, just to make it super easy for people. If you need to explain column headings, then they can just simply hover over and see the help text being displayed there. We also doubled the number of characters that you can include in a field name. And I can click on this icon and come down to field settings to open up the field settings. But I could also just double click on the name, a pro tip. And the field name that we've added here, or the ability, we've doubled the size that's here. So we have people that need to at times have the field names actually work as questions that are there. So we've enhanced that capability to double that size. We've also increased the size on the fields to display, where you can drag this right column and you could move it as far out as you want. And it gives you the ability, if you do have long field names or question types here on the side, that you can very easily see the full information that's there as well. We have another feature that a lot of our power users are using that I've been asked to just show again that's here. And that is you can come into the ... menu, the action menu that's here, and you can turn on and off the toolbar for a particular view that's displayed here. The reason for that is there may be times where you create views for users and you just want to keep things really simple for them. They don't need to be making any changes to the data that's there, and you can very quickly turn that off. Or if you actually share a particular view with somebody, you can share the view and turn this off. And when they click on the shared view, again, they won't see any of the noise kind of at the top. Just keep things super simple for them at that point. We also added the ability to have a quick key up here to change the public-private setting of a view here. So right now, or in the prior version, you could come into any view, you could hover here, you go down here to the public-private, and you could do the setting. It took a couple of clicks to do that. There's now an icon that's beside the view as well. You can just click on the icon, and in a single click, if you have permissions, you can change the view type from public to private. So just trying to save a little time for people as you're setting things up. And it's pretty common to set a lot of things up as private and then move those to public. It just makes it very simple for you to do that. A fun one that we've added is now that you click on any cell, you'll see that I have a fill handle that's here. And I could take that handle and I could drag it down. And in that particular case, it takes the top value and replaces all the values below that. So a pretty typical Excel type feature that's been built in. What's coming next in the next phase of this is we're going to be smart based on the field type that you're copying the information on. So that if it is a date field and we see that you have two dates like Monday and Tuesday, and you're dragging the handle, you probably want to add Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and keep going down the dates. So it will actually take a series of dates all the way down. We'll do the same thing with number field types, and different fields will have different types of options available on the handle to just try to make it easy to sequence data or to get data added very quickly that's there. One of the features that we use quite often is you can hover over any row, click your space key and go right into the record. I didn't have to do a click on my mouse. I just clicked the space key to do that. But if I'm inside of a cell, in this case, and I hit my space key, it takes me to the record and it will take me directly to that particular cell of information as well. That's there. So see how it took me right to size, put that in focus where I could actually see everything but make a change directly to that particular cell. Just another pro tip that our power users are asking that we do a better job of sharing down to some of the general users that are there. On the application side, we've increased the number of apps that you could have in a solution from 15 to 25. There's really no limit on our side on the number of apps that you could have in a solution. We do that to try to help you keep things better organized, and that we see as people start to add more and more, things get cluttered and it's just harder for regular users to understand where to go and how to use information. So best practice for us is around 15, but we've increased that to 25 for some edge cases that people have requested. All right, on the field settings, I'm going to double click, go into a particular field that's here. I think I've said we increased the size of the field settings here. We also, on the help text, we increased the number of characters in help text from 200 to 250. And then we added an additional option for how you want to display help text. So by default, it continues to display as a tooltip, as I was showing up here and inside of the record. But I can also now have help text display below a field name that's there. So I'm just going to type in some characters here, update this value. If I go into the company HQ address, you can see now that the help information can be displayed above the field name if you want. So you have two options. And in this case, to get back and to change that field, if you're a power user, if you're a normal user, you can say, I could come in here and say, I want to modify field settings. If you're a power user, you probably know you can just double click here on the field name as well. It drills right in. And now I have the ability to go under help texts and I can change how I want that text to be displayed for that field that's just here. So people that do a lot of questionnaires and have short field names, but need to have more of a description or even ask a question that's here, this accommodates both of those for you. We've also added, exit out here. If I go into any text field in SmartSuite now, and let's go. I'm just going to create a text field here real quick to show the concept. So let's just say I have a text field named Jon Darbyshire. I want to change this to a different field type. So now text fields can be converted to most other types of fields, but we do more than that. We try to be smart about it. So that let's say that maybe you did an import, you imported a bunch of users as text, but you really want them to be an assigned to field. You can now just change the field type to assigned to, what we'll do is do a match very quickly on the texts and try to find that for you. I can change this back from the assigned to a text field. I could change this to any other field type that I want. Let's say something that maybe doesn't make sense is a number, and I have John as text in here. So if there's text that when you do the conversion that we can't account for, then we will just bypass that and enter the data directly in for you. The next one has to do with conditional rollups, and I'll go back into sales and show that. So now, if you have a rollup field, you now have the ability to include a filter that's here. So let's say maybe I'm rolling up information that has to do with invoices, and I only want information about a particular, I need to pick some data here so we can do a rollup. It allows me now to filter out and say, hey, I only want records maybe that relate to a particular department that's in there, right? So it saves you from needing to do calculations that we could do to get this. In this case, it's just you set the field type up, set the rule, everything happens behind the scenes for you. We do the same thing for the lookup field type as well. So you have the same capability with the filters, the ability to turn that on. I use this. We use a lot of formulas, but a great use case for this would be maybe I'm doing a lookup and I want to see invoices just from last year, or maybe I want to see invoices from last year that have not been paid. So instead of seeing everything, I could focus just right into the content of the details that I want to see there. All right, the assign to fields. So here I have an assign to fields. I want to go into field settings. We've added the ability to disable notifications. So if you have a field that you're setting up and you're assigning people and it's not related to work and you don't want to notify them, or you're doing an initial setup, you're setting up maybe thousands and thousands of records and moving to SmartSuite, you can turn this off, and this will just keep them from being spammed with email if you don't want them to. And you can turn this on and off at any time, and the system will pick things back up that's there. We do the same thing with checklist field types now, where you do assignments as well. So it's completely up to you whether you notify or choose not to notify people at that point. If I go back into a record page, there's a couple little improvements that we've added here for solution managers to make it easier for you to add field types. Currently, there's two ways that you could do that. You could come in and say, I want to add a new field at the field level, or you could click at the bottom very quickly and add fields, which is pretty common if you're building things. But on hover, we now added a little plus here. So at any point in time, I can hover over field and I can add a new field directly below that field with just a single click that's there. What's coming later this week is we've enhanced this menu to not just add new field, but you can add new field above or add new field below, just to make it super simple if you still want to come to this menu to do the click. So you're going to have 3 different options on how you can quickly add content. I find for myself, if I'm building things the first time, I'm coming in and clicking just add new very quickly, pulling this up and creating, or I'm clicking on the plus sign that's here, but you'll have all 3 options available for you. All right, let's talk about guest users for a second. So we've made some pretty significant improvements to what guest users can do. So a guest user, as you invite somebody onto your team, you can give them a role of guest. By default, guests are free into your account. So there's no charge for that. We only charge for anybody else, the account administrators, solution creators, and general access. However, we've increased the type of things that guests can do in the product. So by default, they have read-only access only to the solutions that you grant them access to. But let's say that you are doing a project and, excuse me, I'm just going to click into the Sales CRM to show the concept again. But it allows them to come in and any status field, excuse me, any status field that you have set up, they will now have the ability to change the status of a field here, like this stage is a status field, for any record that they've been assigned to using an assigned to field. So in this particular case, Nate could come in and actually change the status. He can't change any of the other content. He can't add new records, but at least he can change the status that's associated with it. We're doing the same thing at the checklist level. So any checklist item that Let's go into something that looks like assigned to Nate. It's here. So if I did this assignment to Nate in this case, Nate would have the ability to see the other checklist items, but he could only change the status of the items that he's assigned to. That's here. In addition, you still have the ability, just want to make sure you understand that when you drill into a record and you go into Communication Center, they can, as a guest, you can still add comments and have conversations in regards to the records that you're assigned to. So there's really three things now that a guest can do. They can have conversations, they can change a particular status field, and they can change a checklist item that's been assigned to them. In addition to when they click on My Work, all of those same attributes happen inside of their My Work panel as well. So if I was a guest, I would have the ability to just change the status, in this case, not any of the other information that's there. All right, from a forms perspective, there's a couple new items that we've added to forms. The first is you now have the ability to have conditions. So I can single click into any field that I've added onto my form, and I can click on this to only show fields when conditions are met, and I could add one or multiple conditions inside of here. That is phase one for us. Phase two that we're working on right now is the ability to add sections to forms, and then to be the ability to do the same, use the same conditional logic for an entire section. So a section could include maybe like 50 different fields if you're doing some type of a survey. And instead of going through each field at a time and saying when to display, I could just put them in sections and say, if it's this type of survey, then I want these questions specifically to be asked. That's there. We also added the ability to limit selections to single, multiple select, and status fields. If you want to, by default, any selection that you have set up in the field type will be available in the form. But if you turn this on and click edit, it will show you each of the values, and you can determine which of those values you want to be selected that's here. This is more common for, it's used for single, multiple select tags, but it's more common for status fields where maybe you don't want the person filling out the form to be able to select a status that means complete. Maybe they just have two different types of statuses that would be available there. Lots more fun stuff coming with forms. We continue to make quite a number of updates here as well, but these last two, I know quite a few people have been waiting for these. All right, I am going to change accounts here very quickly. Oops, sorry. And show you some new additions to automations. So this is our own internal instance of SmartSuite that we use to manage every process in our own company. I'm going to go into software development that's here, click on automations. You can see we have quite a number of automations as well set here, and I'm going to click on history. And I think most of you know now that phase one of run history was implemented 5 or 6 weeks ago. It now keeps track of every run that was done, along with the status, whether it was a success or if there was some type of failure that was there, along with the duration and the number of actions that were taken. What's coming out late this week on Friday is the ability to click into one of these run history, and you'll see the details of this particular run. So you'll see the trigger, what was done in the trigger, the actions, what happened. If you do have a failure, it will help you pinpoint exactly where the failure is at, either in your trigger, your action, something in the setup that might be there. So just know that we've been working on that for a bit, and excited to say that we're really close with that coming out this week. I want to flip back over to my other account. Just bear with me for a second and show you a couple more things on automations here. So I'll go back into sales and marketing, pull this up. We'll create a new automation. So let's just say when a record is updated, there's a couple of new actions that are available. The first one is under Google Calendar. We added the ability now to update events, not just create new events. And then inside of Jira, we now support not just the base field types that are in Jira, but the custom field types that you can add in Jira as well. So it just makes it super simple for you to connect to both of those. All right, just a few more little updates here before we jump into the AI portion. Under permissions, this is a big one for folks. I just want to mention this. We rearranged the UI just a little bit to make it clear who the solution managers are in the particular solution. So these are the people that have the ability to make updates to the solution. So we now include the full name instead of just the avatars that were there prior. And it makes it easier. We have companies that have 15 or 20 people that are assigned as solution managers at times. It makes it easy to see all of those kind of in a glance and then to click to get detail about them up here. Sounds simple, but that was another kind of big one. I won't spend too much time on this, but in files and images, if you now have a PDF file and you want to view that in the image gallery, you have the ability to increase or decrease the size of the PDF kind of in the display. So you can most of the time zoom in to better see information that's in the PDF as you're reviewing it. All right, I'm going to go. I want to very quickly talk about some updates to Communication Center that we have. In any record that you have, you can click up here to open Communication Center. By default, you can have a conversation with anybody that has access to this solution inside of your workspace that's there. This has been in alpha and beta for a period of time, but we've now released this to everyone where you can come in and you can turn on the email feature. And you turn this on app by app. So inside of a solution, you can have it in some apps and not in others if you want. By turning that on, it then adds these additional tabs across the top where I can either have comments or I can actually have discussions via email with people. So this particular capability, we set up a default email address for you that has an alias based on the email address that you use to create your account. You then have the ability to come in and either enter content or select particular content fields that are coming from the record that's here. Same with the content in the body that's here. And I could write anything that I want, hit send. One of the enhancements that we made when you hit send is that when a person replies, you also see all the replies back in, just like a normal conversation in Communication Center. But we also send a notification, an in-app notification to your notification center here, just to alert you that there's actually something that you could review that's here as well. A couple of the newer features that we added is the ability to expand this modal to see everything just a little bigger centered on the screen. You can now attach files or upload files that are in fields inside of the record that you're looking at. And the big one that's being used quite a bit is you now have the ability to set up templates. So I could come into Template Center, I could create a new template. And now each time that I'm working in a record, maybe I'm a salesperson and I want to send out a particular type of email to a customer, I can just pick the template. The template can pull data directly from the record that you're working in. So we know the person that you're sending to, maybe the project ID, other information, and then maybe you add a little custom at the bottom and click send email that's there. So just think of email allows you to have conversations with anyone, whether they're internal or external to SmartSuite. And then all that information is captured in a chain, including replies back to that. So you have one place that kind of has a record of all communications. Comments themselves are limited to people that have access inside of SmartSuite to this particular solution. And I can mention people here and do a little bit more formal things, like if I wanted to send a message to Nate, notify him about something, but I also wanted to assign this as a task to Nate. It shows up here, but now Nate, it also showed up in Nate's My Work, and only myself, being the person that created this, or Nate, could come in and mark this as resolved that's here. And then I have the ability at the top to go back and see things that are open, just assigned to me, resolved, different types of filters. All right, getting close here. Let's go back into accounts. This is another highly requested feature. Sounds pretty simple, but you can now, inside of dashboards, we've enhanced the text widget that we have. The text block widget is a full-blown SmartDoc capability. So you can create any type of content that you want put in here. You can embed videos and files, all different types of things, and display that inside of dashboards that you have. From a product integration perspective, we added a few things to Zapier and Make that I just want to bring your attention to. Make specifically, we added a find feature to the Make connector. It's in review process. It could have came out this morning and I haven't seen it yet, but it should be reviewed by them and in production in the next day or two. We also added support for some new field types or additional field types. The checklist, full name, and address field types are now available in Zapier and Make. That's there. And then from an integration standpoint, there's a few things that we wanted to talk about. We're excited to announce that we have a formal relationship with WeWeb. Is a product that allows you to build custom front ends on top of your data source in SmartSuite that's there. This has been completed. We're going to have a webinar on May the 25th with, I think, the leadership at WeWeb and our team to show specifically some use cases on how this can be used. But just think of things as simple as portals and websites, but even much more sophisticated than that, in that you can build full-blown apps, very customized on top of data that's sitting inside of SmartSuite that's there. This is the first of 2 or 3 additional options that we'll be announcing over the next month in regards to different types of products that are going to allow you to build portals and landing pages and websites and apps and things on top of SmartSuite. This is the most sophisticated of the ones that we'll announce, gives you the most power. It also requires a little more configuration and knowledge on the back end on how to set it up that's there. We also have a relationship with Fillout, which is an up-and-coming form provider that provides some very customized and types of things that you can do with your forms that are here. So just think of it as it's a step up from what's even available in SmartSuite with certain items. And we're working on this. We'll have some announcements towards the end of this month on a particular delivery date that this will be available. And then the Easy Portal team that is using SmartSuite as a data source to be able to create different types of portals and landing pages. We've been given access to this mid last week. We're pretty happy, with what they've built so far. It sounds like they're about a week away from providing this to all the beta users from SmartSuite that signed up. I think there's a little over 100. If you would like to get early access, you can just go to easyportal.com, put in your email, click here, and they'll notify you when it's available. That's it. All right, so let's jump into some fun stuff now. So we want to talk about how organizations can use AI to work smarter in SmartSuite. And I'm going to go into marketing operations as an example. And I tell you what, I'm just going to pick a new content record and show you some of the capabilities that are available now. This is in beta. If you would like to participate and have access to what I'm going to show right now with the content creation, you just need to share your workspace ID with our team. You can put it inside. You can go into the product and just send a message to our team, and we can get that turned on as fast as this afternoon for you. So now inside of any SmartDoc field type, you'll notice that we say that you can either hit the / command, you can start typing like you normally do, you can hit the / command to bring up the / menu, or I can just hit the space bar and I can bring up an integrated AI prompt that's inside of SmartSuite. It allows you to write new content. We are working on many different types of prompts that are available. This list will continue to grow based on feedback that we're getting. And when you click on a prompt, we'll fill out the base part of the prompt and then allow you to fill this in. Or you don't have to use that prompt at all. You can just type in exactly what you want to happen. And I have some examples that I want to share with you just to show you some of the capabilities that are here. So just so I don't have to type in all this information, let me just show you some of the power. So in this particular case, I'm just taking a series of data points and I'm saying, hey, I'm a data scientist. You act as a data scientist. Here's some data. Can you just go give me some insights about this data that's there? So in this particular case, it was about 3 different products with different price points and days that were sold. And it's actually just analyzing, creating the content for me on the fly. Pretty simple stuff, not that kind of gee whiz that's out there. Another item could be, get up here to my list. Maybe I want to create a list of the top 10 US companies as I'm maybe writing content right now. So I could say, hey, just include these inside of the content that I'm already writing. So it's doing the research for you and pulling back the information. I could do the same thing for references and say, hey, here's the content. Can you help me with some references based on that particular content? You could do simple things like maybe I just need to create a really simple job description as I'm writing. So in this case, I want a copywriter that's familiar with the no-code space and what would that job description look like. So what's happening behind the scenes is we're passing information about this prompt and what you've done. And then we are interpreting the information and working to present it back in a structured way using the capabilities that we have inside of the SmartDoc field type itself that's there. When you write content, or when you have AI write content, you can not only create new content, but you can highlight any content that you have. And you'll notice on the far right side here on the toolbar, I can click on this toolbar. And now I can do a number of things where I can say, if this was maybe 7 or 8 paragraphs of content, I could say, hey, can you just give me a summary of that content in 4 or 5 sentences? Maybe if it was an action plan, I could say, or a bigger document, I could say, can you just pull out all the action items for me that's here? I can make it longer, shorter, can improve the clarity. I can ask it questions about the content that's in there. So I could say, I want to make this just a little bit longer that's there. So describe it a little more. When you highlight content and then ask SmartSuite AI to generate additional content, when the content has then been created, you have a series of options on what to do with that content that's there. So I can replace the existing content. I can insert this below. I can keep writing. I could say it's too long at this point. I'll say, hey, I just want to insert that below that's here. Let me give you a few more fun ones. So I was just playing around with this as we were creating it and say, hey, I just need a description for SmartSuite AI that's now available inside of our SmartDoc field type. And I just want to show this for product managers that are needing to write content. It's pretty fantastic, to be honest, in that it gives you a really great starting point. It's not always 100%, but in some cases it's really close. And it does a good job of giving you the structure of how to maybe lay things out. That just makes it easier for you to come in and edit. So you can see the prompt that I gave this was pretty simple, and ask it to go do the research, and it just pulled back all this information. And I asked it to also include examples of how you could use this new capability that's there. All right, let me give you something that's been pretty common just in the last couple of weeks as we've been playing with customers, or allowing customers to play with the technology and use it. In this particular case, you're needing to write content, in this case, a cybersecurity policy for a SaaS company based in California. So I gave it 3 different attributes of information to go do the research on. It's cybersecurity. I'm specifically a SaaS company, and I'm based in California, so I could have some unique requirements because of that. So it's actually creating the content for you of that particular cyber policy that's there. It's going to take it about 30 seconds to finish this. What's interesting what I wanted to show off is, once you have content like this, give it one more second. Okay. Is I can come back in, and as I'm reading the content, I could say, I really don't understand what ISO 2701 is. So I can just click on this and say, explain. And so we built in the ability to highlight any word inside of any SmartDoc documents and do the research for you to help describe that. You can then choose to include that information or not include that information as you're writing. So I use this quite often as I'm writing requirements for the product that's there, just so I can help explain things a little better from time to time. If I don't want that, I just click discard and it's gone. It's there. I'll show you just one more quick case that I find really interesting. And this just shows the power of maybe being able to do some things internally that in the past you've needed to hire somebody externally to do. In this case, I'm a nonprofit organization, and I'm just looking to increase donations, and I just need a strategy on how would I get started to do that? How do other nonprofit organizations manage that information? So in this case, it's just going through and creating a strategy for me, telling me, just breaking it down into steps on how I could do that. I won't do it now, but I could click and change the formatting of this very quickly. But it helps you actually write strategy content across any type of industry, and we're finding that it's pretty great. So just to summarize on this particular feature, if it's something that you're interested in, just contact our team. We just need to know your solution ID, which is this little ID that's right up here at the top, or you can just copy this URL and just send it to us and we'll pull that out. We'll give you access to that. We are also within about a week and a half of releasing this to all customers. We're just figuring out a few last minute details that are there. And then there's 2 ways to generate content. You can highlight content that you already have. when the toolbar comes up, you can click on the right. We'll give you a series of options of things you can do, or you could type in anything just like you can in ChatGPT here if you don't want to use a prompt. The second item is you could either use the space key, or if you click slash and you bring up the advanced menu, we put Ask AI as the first item in the menu, just so you get familiar with that. Lots of great use cases on here. I could keep going and going, but this is something that you want to come in and play with to create content or review the content that you've already created and help make it a little better. All right, let's move to something that's even more fun for us as we're starting to play around. And that is the ability to create new workflows on the fly using an assistant, an AI assistant that we've created. Let's say I'm just going to pick this as an example, and I have some things already set up for us to see that's been completed here, but I could come in here and say, ask AI to generate. And now I could just describe my workflow. You can be as simple or complex as you want. So I could be, in this case, very simple and just say, I just want a pipeline construction project. That's all I need to say. I can click generate. And what's happening now, it's going to take it between 1 and 3 minutes for us to go through and actually create it. So instead of waiting for that, I just created these before the call. And so here's pipeline construction management. This is what it actually created on the fly for me. It broke it up into 3 different apps. It created all the base field information. If I want to drill into the record, I can actually see that it's not just a bunch of text fields, that you can see all the different field types that have been added. We've been spending quite a bit of time to help the system understand the 44 different field types that we have, the type of information that would be collected, the best field type to use in that case. But we even go a step further in that if I click on skills, this is a tag field or multi-select, you can see that we actually add selections that are inside of there as well. Same thing with employee type. So it's not just a field type, it's much more. And here's an example of tags being added as well. It also includes the linkages between the items that it creates. So in this case, it creates a linked record between workers and equipment and task that's in here. And we also generate sample content. And we do that so that it makes it easier for you to digest the structure that's in here. And then you can very quickly create charts and graphs and different types of views on the content that's there. This is in prototype that's here. We are within a week or 2 of releasing this to partners and kind of power users. So if this is something that you're interested in beginning to play with and would like to be a part of that initial wave while it's in alpha, please let us know. But in this case, you can see quite a few different field types. And then the next phase is we're going to include 5 to 7 views of the information using the different view types across as well. I want to show you a few additional ones that I just created this morning. So I'll come back in here. And the first one was, it said, I'm a manufacturing company and our marketing team needs a better way to manage marketing plans. So it created this marketing plans solution for me, which is campaigns and products. Pretty simple, but specific to a manufacturing company in that case. I did another one where I said, hey, I just want a very simple workout app. And it includes workouts, exercises, and muscle groups. And pretty interesting on this one. It's fun to play around with it, but with all the links and references and everything that it put in and all the different types. So the intent here is we're not going to solve 100% of the problem all the time, but we're going to give you a really good starting point on things. Excuse me. And in 1 to 2 minutes, maybe we could create what would maybe take you an hour to think through and to build out and to add all the field types, and makes it easier for you. If you don't want to select the template and need something more specific, you could do that. And this one here is just a CRM that's tailored to an auto dealership that has a service department. And you could just see, again, the different fields and solutions that it's set up for us. So this is a lot of fun to play with as you're just thinking about and playing around with different types of workflows that you might want to create in your organization. So I think you understand the concept. So I'll move on to number 3. So I'm going to go into sales CRM as an example of this. I want to go back to just an account summary where I can just see all the data that's inside of my CRM that's here. We're playing around. We're playing around with adding an assistant icon here at the bottom when you're inside of a solution. And when you click that, it says, okay, how can I help you? And maybe I want to see accounts by type, right? And that's all I want to say. And what we want the system to do is go analyze the data and actually create, in this particular case, a chart type or a chart that's showing me accounts by type. And it says, okay, I created this report for you, accounts by type. Here you go. I did it in a pie chart. A recent feature that we released on pie chart is you can now come into pie charts and you can click on the legend and change the colors in real time that's here. So maybe I want to just play around with the colors a little bit that's here. Once a chart has been created, you can change the chart type to any other chart type. We now know the data that's there, and it actually created a view for you and put it in your private views that are there. Right. And when I click on any part of the chart, I can drill in and see the details that make up that particular element as well. So I'll go back to my account summary. So now maybe I want to see accounts by size. And maybe in this case, I want to see a bar chart. What's coming that we're working on here is that we want you to be able to have conversations inside of the assistant where you're asking about data that's here, like maybe my top 5 sales. And instead of creating a chart, it will show you the information inside of the conversation and then ask, would you like us to create a chart for you that's there? So you can get the best of both worlds that's there. But for people that are needing to create quite a number of views, we want to make it easier when you go to create the view to be able to use an assistant to be able to do that, just using natural language that's there. So eventually what will happen is when you come to create a new chart inside of here, instead of taking you to a page, in addition to this page here, we could have the ability where you could just tell us what you want and we'll go create that for you behind the scenes, and then you can just edit it. So you won't have to pick the fields, the groupings, all of those types of things. It is the intent of where we're trying to get. We're also trying to make it easy to provide insights. So ultimately where we're headed here is we can look into your entire sales CRM solution. You could come in here and say, can you look at all the data across my sales CRM, create a dashboard with insights, and have it create a dashboard, add all the charts, and then help explain some of the data points on the data. So maybe it would say that 80% of your revenue is coming from these 2 cohorts, and the recommendation is to spend more time and attention on marketing to this particular segment that's there. But it's how can we pass information and look at the data that you have and help you gain insights from that, not just using us as a CRM in this particular case. All right, so that is it. We've got about 10 minutes that are here. Avi, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. We can see everybody again, and happy to answer any questions. I see there's a lot going on in the chat and icons. As I'm demoing, I typically don't look at that, but happy to answer any questions or talk about what's coming for SmartSuite if there's any questions on that.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, John. I know the first time I saw all the AI capabilities, besides all the amazing features that we added, it just seems like we just don't stop. I know my mind was blown when I first saw the AI capabilities, and I get excited about it every time I use it. And so I can't wait to see our customers and partners get their hands on it. With that being said, I see quite a number of questions came in and quite a lot of chatter came in. Tremendous amount of excitement around many different features, including the emails, the email feature, the AI features, the integrations, the front-end portals. If you did put your question in the chat, you might want to move it to the Q&A, and we're going to start addressing the Q&A questions one by one. And going back to the early updates, John, that you shared, we saw how it became easier to update views from public to private. One question's coming in here from an anonymous attendee. Will you be adding a count near the view dropdown to indicate there are multiple views available?
I don't know that we've had that request, but I will look into that. That's there.
Okay, excellent. And the next question that we have, is there conditions for forms and or both? So essentially just a little bit more advanced conditional logic on the forms.
Yeah, you can do both. You can pick if you want to use an and or an or in the condition that you're setting up. What's coming next across not just forms, but all the places that we have rules is you can have different sets of conditions. So you could have a set of ands, a set of ors, and do an and or an or between those condition groups as well. We're not quite there yet, but we're close on that.
That's awesome. Okay, excellent. Next question is coming in from Patrick. Hey, Patrick. Patrick is asking, will email addresses be able to come from Gmail at a later point? Will you be able to basically add in your own personal account to send out emails?
Yeah, you will be. The first phase was we generate an email automatically in the system for everyone. We make it super simple. That looks like that covers about 80% of the use cases that we've been asked about. And then what's happening next is you'll be able to link your own personal account, email account to that and not use the one that we set up for you.
Excellent. Okay, amazing. That's going to be exciting. We have Patrick also sending some love about the email templates. He says those are amazing. I know I'm excited about that too. We have a question coming in from Adrian. Any plans to allow records to be updated through forms? Looking to achieve this so members can update their profiles. We then sync the data out to a Webflow site. It seems a request feature across various platforms, and currently there's no simple solution. It relies on separate automation apps or form builders.
The answer to that is yes. So we're looking at that in two different ways right now. One is the ability to take data, when you create a form, the ability to take data inside of a record, put it into a form and send it to somebody to be able to do an update that's there. And I think that's what Adrian's asking for here. We're also working with providers like Fillout that provide that capability as well. So they can look into SmartSuite, pull data, put it in a form, you send it out, the customer completes certain information, and then it auto updates back into SmartSuite. So we're going to give you a number of different options on how to pull data out, put it in a form, update things, and send it back in.
Amazing. Okay. And I see we have a question coming in from Orlando. How is WeWeb different than from Easy Portal that has just been announced to soon be released? Is it part of Smart? And then the second question is Easy Portal a SmartSuite company?
Okay. Yeah. So the difference between WeWeb and Easy Portal is WeWeb is a much more sophisticated product that will allow you to just do lots and lots of more things that you won't find in a softer or an Easy Portal type of product. At the same time, it's more of a low code product, meaning it's going to take a little more work to do all the setup, but it is very powerful that's there. And the question is Easy Portal part of SmartSuite? It is not. So Easy Portal is a completely separate company. Their first integration that they're doing is with SmartSuite. We're giving them lots of attention so that they get that done and understand how to use our product, but they'll be adding additional data sources in the future once everything is done for SmartSuite. But we've convinced them to solve that problem mainly for portals and landing pages for our customers that need to do just pretty simple things to pull data out. And they're making really good progress on that.
Awesome. And I see Patrick is helping out, putting some questions from the chat into the Q&A. So thank you, Patrick. Dalen is asking if the AI has current knowledge and access to the internet.
So we are using OpenAI, ChatGPT, which has access to a particular point in time of the internet. So all the information that it's pulling back, the same as everyone else, that's going to continue to change over time. So it's just going to get better and better. And then we are building in the ability with the last two features that I showed you, where we are finding ways to pass information to AI so that it can look at the current data that you have and then make insights based on that data that you have.
Excellent. So just to clarify, we're using OpenAI's API access to access their AI models.
Correct.
Okay, excellent. Andrian asks, which SmartSuite plans is AI available for?
Yeah, so it will be available for all of our plan types that's there. We are working through the details over the next week on how we're going to allow you to enter your own keys. So we'll give you a certain number of tokens that are available from SmartSuite based on your plan type, so you can understand and see if it's something that's interesting for you. And then that will require you to then have an account on OpenAI. And we're working through it now, but determining if you can do that person by person or if you want to do that overall for your organization that's there.
Okay, excellent. And I think we went through this, but maybe we can show this one more time. Patrick is asking, can you show where to access AI in SmartDoc again, or will that button be released /release will be coming soon?
Yeah, once, just like I showed today, if we turn it on for your account, you'll have a little different prompt inside of the SmartDoc, and it will say you can press the space key to enact AI, or if you hit the slash menu, it will be the first item in the menu for you to turn it on, so you can understand that it's there. Most of the power users we're finding don't want to use the menu; they just want to use the space key, and it just takes out one click for you to be able to start using it.
Excellent. And I see a question from Adam. So Adam is asking, can we populate a prompt from other fields? For example, I provide a prompt with variables that are other fields, resulting in a unique output per record.
Yeah, we are actually working and trying to figure that out right now. We're very similar to the ability to use templates inside of the email from record feature that we talked about, allowing you to, in a prompt, use certain characters that pulls data from SmartSuite, includes that information in the prompt. So then the response coming back knows that information and makes it more specific.
Okay, amazing. You can just tell the excitement about the AI with all the questions coming in. Patrick is asking, is there a limit for the number of prompt users can utilize per month, as well as desired length of responses?
Yeah, so that is limited by OpenAI, the API that they have that's there. And we will set a number of tokens that can be used just to use that, to get familiar with it in SmartSuite. And then you'll need to add your own API key at that point, and then you just follow the plan that you purchased from them.
Okay, excellent. The next question comes in from William. William asks, can you ask AI to edit/modify improved solutions it created, ask it to modify some text, as well as optimize existing solutions?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's exactly where we want to go. We're in phase one of this, which is understanding how to use all 44 of our field types in the response that comes back and creating the solutions that are there. Phase two will be taking an existing solution that you have and doing just that, asking it basically to do a review and to help point out any information that you might have that's there. And then phase three is a little bit more in that maybe I want to, instead of doing 3 clicks to add a new field type, I could just ask it to go add any missing field types based on the review, and it would auto create those for me. But we're in phase one, and we'll be in phase one for another month or so till we just really get this kind of honed in, zeroed in on how to make it just as fast as possible and have the data be as enriched as much as possible when it presents it back to you.
Excellent. Okay. Question from Jared. Is it possible, or will it be possible, for AI tools to create automations for you inside of SmartSuite?
It will. In fact, we're going to make an announcement in about a week of another product that allows that. It sounds like today, that is looking at integrating with SmartSuite. And the next part for us is doing the ability to create views. And then after views takes us right into automations. We have to have all the field types done first, so that we understand what fields to use and all of that. But yes, that's exactly, it's going to make it super simple to create things in the future.
Okay, amazing. And Jared has a follow-up question. Is it possible, or will it be possible, to have an AI feature that can write advanced formulas for you?
That's another good use case. That is already available. There's a number of prompts that have been created by other products that do that. And it's just a matter of teaching ChatGPT our syntax inside of our formulas to be able to do that for you. But yes, that's being done now, and that's on our list for sure.
I can't wait for that one, because I always have to ping someone. Hey, can you write me this advanced formula? So that's going to be amazing. Next question comes in from Jeff. Could I use AI to enrich my CRM data? Example, add demographic data.
I'm assuming that you're saying that it would go look up like people and enrich the information that you know about a person that's there. I don't know that SmartSuite will do that, but there are third-party products available now that can connect to SmartSuite that do exactly that for you.
Yeah, just to share real quick, we use that internally in our CRM. We have a product that we integrated into, I don't know if we use Make. I'm sure Peter or one of our internal team members can elaborate on that if anyone wants to reach out, but we have enrichment data built right into SmartSuite. You click a button and it adds in all the enriched data. So definitely possible with existing products on the market and live today. Okay, next question. Neil is asking, are the AI features accessible to all tiers of access? I think he's asking, what plan types is it going to be available on?
Yeah, so it's going to be available for all of our paid plan types. So team, professional, and enterprise. We will have a very limited number of tokens available for anybody in trial or free, just so you can understand the capability that's there. And then know that we're not charging anything extra for the AI features. It's part of your existing plans, but you will need to then have a subscription, which is right now $20 per month to OpenAI to be able to use that. And that answers like Patrick's question on the number of tokens that you get per month. It's all based on that.
Okay, excellent. The next question is coming in from Tzvi. Is there a way to keep the communication center always open? Finally, a question not about AI.
You can't always keep it open, but we do have the ability in a grid view. There's an open comments field type that you can select, and it shows the number of open comments. And typically people put that as the very first column in any grid. And when you click on that, it takes you directly into the record with the comments section open already. So that's how most people use that. I haven't had anybody ask to always keep it open, because we have a lot of requests the other way, which was to find a way to not be able to see that all the time unless needed that's there. But it's possible we could add a quick setting if that's important to people to be able to make that determination.
Okay, excellent. Now, I know we're 5 minutes over time already. We're going to try going as much as we can to answer more questions, but I know we're running over time. So folks, if you have to hop, we understand it. We know you want to stay with us until the very end. We're going to post the recording on YouTube later today. And so feel free to check back in if you have to jump and still want to stay updated on everything. With that being said, let's move on to the next question. Carl is asking, if I'm currently using Insightly, can I migrate my data to SmartSuite?
The answer is, I don't know Insightly, but I'm assuming that you can export your data from there. And the answer is yes. Then if you can get your data out in any way, we can import that data. We have a number of different ways to do that. And our onboarding team is also available to help with that at any time.
Okay, amazing. Michael is asking, is there any updates on dependencies?
There are. It's in development right now. There are two big features that are coming soon that we're working on. One is the reoccurring task capability. So you could go into any due date field and say, I want this particular task to reoccur based on the settings that you put in. The second one is the dependencies along with Gantt charts. And we have a newsletter that's going out on Thursday that talks about this as well, showing you what's in the coming soon piece. But the dependencies and the Gantt charts come out all together at the same time.
Okay, amazing. Andrian is asking, brand colors. I really need hex colors on the panel. Do you think that's coming, especially for dashboards when I'm trying to share with stakeholders?
Adrian, I will reach back out to you on this to make sure I fully understand if you're talking about just the solution colors or if you're talking about the colors that can be selected for values list and used in charts that are there. I think that's probably what you're asking for, is that second one.
Yeah, I believe so. I saw that question coming in while you were showing the different charts and the dashboards. People want to actually have their own brand colors and be able to put in the hex codes. Okay, I guess we'll reach back out and we'll see if that fits in on the product roadmap. Dave is asking, might it be possible to prompt the workflow design assistant with .bpmn XML output for a process model?
As I read that question, I'm like, wow, yeah, absolutely. I need to talk with the dev team, but inside of ChatGPT, you can do exactly that and get output into XML, JSON, any type of format that you want that includes all the field types and everything that we just talked about that's there. Dave, I'll check on that today, but I think it's probably already possible to do that.
Yeah, okay. Dave, you always keep us on our toes, very advanced. The next question is coming in from Dalen. Will it be possible to have the content assistant and or chat assistant be able to reference not just other data fields, but also our various SmartDoc contents? Use case example, I have a doc describing our company's writing style / tone of voice guide. Could I have the content writer reference that as it creates email content for me?
I haven't been asked that specifically, but let me tell you what we have been thinking about that kind of answers this question is the ability for you to add your own prompts to the menu that I was showing, where you could then include in the prompt your writing style, tone, and voice. And when they click that prompt, it would then use that behind the scenes to rewrite that content for you. we're trying to figure that piece out, right? We know we can do it. We're trying to figure out the easiest way to make that available to you in the UI. I need to think about the second part on how that would work if we wanted to pull from another record that was there, but I know we can let you do that in a prompt.
Okay, excellent. Christopher is asking, is there thought or plans to improve the expanded record layout to allow for better stacking when split? For example, if a SmartDoc field is on the left and a smaller field like single select is on the right, there is white space under the single select.
I'm not sure. I think I understand what you're asking for. I need to go look at this. And can somebody on our team just make a note for me that I get back to Christopher on an answer to this today?
Okay, excellent. It's Christopher Williams. Next, we have a question from Arnaldo again. Can we toggle on off an autosave feature when modifying records?
Currently, we require the save feature to actually happen each time for that, just based on the architecture that we have. And that supports lots of fun stuff that happens behind the scenes with required fields and different things that can take place. So we don't have an auto save feature at the record level currently.
Okay. Another question coming in from Tvi. I would like to be able to edit lookup fields to override data in the linked record and have the linked record value updated, basically making a two-way lookup. Is that something that will be coming? Essentially being able to update linked records from a lookup, I think, is what he's asking.
Yeah, we have this request not just from linked records, but for any type of lookup that you're doing is providing the ability to make an edit to that value that then syncs on the other side that's there. It's not on the current roadmap for the quarter. I tell you what, I'll look at that this week and provide some better timing of when we might be looking at doing that.
Okay, excellent. Question from Adam. Can we, I think this question came up again, but maybe we can elaborate on this. Can we populate a prompt for other fields? For example, I provide a prompt with variables that are other fields, resulting in a unique output per record, like sheet GPT type functionality. I'm curious what that is. I don't think I've came across sheet GPT.
No, I'm making a note. I'm going to go look at that today. I'm not familiar as well, but I will get familiar with that. And if somebody else is doing it right now and using ChatGPT, it's just a matter of us figuring out how to provide the interface to pull the data.
Okay, excellent. We have a follow-up question. I think we also addressed this as well, but maybe we can elaborate a little bit more about the functionality that's planned. Anonymous attendee is asking, what are the plans for dependencies?
Yeah, so we're working on dependencies right now that will allow you to go into a particular record and pick any other records that this record is dependent on, or that this record might be blocking that's there. And then that information, it will be displayed inside the record, and then you can use that to display dependencies in Gantt charts as well.
Okay, excellent. Randall is asking, will there soon be a way to have content added to a form using hidden form fields with things like email addresses?
The answer is yes. So that's on the short-term roadmap for the form team. I tell you what, I can probably give a better update on this either Friday or Monday on timing. I just need to see where it's at on the schedule, but we're probably within 2 weeks of having that particular feature available.
Okay, excellent. Kostya is asking, please say more about options for the front ends. When are they coming? Maybe we can just recap quickly the 3 front end application options and when they're coming.
Yeah, so the WeWeb piece that we talked about today is live now. We got word this week that the integration was complete and that is ready to go. You can go to their website, sign up, and as you're playing, you just add SmartSuite as a data source and off you go. That's there. The easy portal that we talked about earlier, we saw the first version of it last week. It looks really good. There were a few things that we noted in the use cases that we tried out that we asked them to take a look at. They said it would take 1 week to 2 weeks to complete those. And when those items are done, they're going to make it available to all of the closed beta users that have signed up on their website. So if you have an interest on that, do that. It's pretty cool. We showed them pulling in 10,000 records from SmartSuite in just a couple of seconds into the prototypes that we were setting up. So we're really happy with the performance that's there. And then we continue to have discussions with Softer as well. They've promised a few times that they were going to integrate, and whatever reason they didn't. So we're really unsure on exactly where that's at. But we did receive word from them again this week or late last week that it was back on their roadmap but we're going to wait and see with softer.
Okay, excellent. We're 15 minutes over time. It looks like we still have 33 open questions. And so, John, you tell me for however long you can continue going, we can go. Otherwise,
let's just take 5 more minutes, Avi, and so we don't waste everybody's time.
Okay, sounds good. And then obviously you can always reach our team via intercom. So if you just go into the product, pop your questions in, and we'll spend some time answering these questions today. Okay, next question. John asks if there's an integration with Webflow.
We don't have a direct integration with Webflow, but you can use Make or Zapier to do that. And we have quite a number of customers that do that already.
Yep.
Including us. We use Webflow for our website as well.
Absolutely. I can say it works seamlessly. Okay, next question. Nick is asking, for forms, will there be a feature where we're able to create, update multiple records from one form submission, i.e., for example, entering in multiple children per family form, or ordering multiple products from one form, i.e., child records from one form submission, and it creates multiple records?
You can do that now when a form is submitted with the information and with an automation, and we can create those multiple records to do that. So Nick, if you want to send your specific use case into our support team that's on that, we'll get back to you and maybe just do a quick prototype and show you how we're doing that now.
Yeah, I'll just add in there, in addition to being able to do that through automations, like you just send in a form and then break it out to separate records with automations, like John is saying, the fill out integration, which is coming later this month, is actually a great product for that exact purpose. They allow you to do that. Yeah. Okay, next question from William. If SmartSuite AI creates a solution for me, can I ask AI to modify the app after I've reviewed it?
Yeah, so that's phase 2, William. And I'm looking at an interface right now that would allow you to, when you go to create something, we give you a little more control over what you want created, and then potentially a preview, and where you could then maybe see the fields that it created by app and say, yes, I want these, don't want those. And maybe at that time in a wizard, create 5 more fields or select the fields that you want to create, and then have everything created at once. So that's in the phase 2. Once we get the phase 1 done, we move right into this. How can we just make this more usable after the first time the content is created?
Okay, excellent. And we have another question coming in from Andrian about the email. Any way we can get a group email? We need team to use one email and not their personal emails. For example, support@domain.com.
I'm sure you're talking about the email within a record capability that's there. As soon as we release the Gmail and Microsoft, where you can use your own email, it will support this specifically. You can also right now set up another user in your account, and you can give them support at your domain name, and you can do exactly that for that particular user if you want.
Okay, excellent. And William is asking, will it be possible for a developer to turn off AI for normal users? Seems to have the potential to be dangerous.
Yeah, that's part of what we're working through right now, is how we can allow you to control who would want to have it, especially in larger companies that are there. That's just a UI. We can do it. It's just a UI that we're talking about. How do you enter in your API code or token from OpenAI, and then how you determine who you want to have access to that, either by groups of people or individual people.
Okay, excellent. And we have a question coming in from Adam. Any ETA on duplicating automations?
We haven't started on that, but we have a few more enhancements, like the logging and things that we're making to automations. And when that is done, that's when the duplication starts. So everything's included. I would imagine that by the end of this quarter or early next quarter, so we're probably 60 to 80 days away from that being released.
Okay, excellent. Patrick is asking, where on the roadmap is the ability to create users on mobile?
You want to invite users? I guess is what he's asking.
Yeah, I'm assuming just being able to add folks to your workspace from mobile app.
I will check on that. I don't know specifically.
Okay, excellent. Simone is asking, when are recurring tasks going to be available without the need for an automation?
Yeah, so we're super close on this one. It's in development. This one will come out first. If we're looking at the recurring task and the dependencies, this one will be the first one that will drop. We're within 30 days, but it could be a lot sooner than that. It just depends on how the testing goes here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, excellent. And Clive is asking, Can we use AI to make quotes for clients? I'm not sure if they're referring to using document designer or just in the SmartDoc field.
Yeah, I think I understand that. And the answer is absolutely yes. So obviously you would need the client to approve the quote, but it does a really great job of you provide information about what you want and say to give me 5 examples of quotes around this content that you could present back. Yeah, I can do that for sure.
Okay, excellent. And Barry's asking a follow-up question. So which app/company do you use to enrich your own CRM data with Make?
There's a whole bunch that are on the market. Clearbit is at the top of that list, and we've evaluated quite a number of products. It's more expensive, but it does the best job across a broad data set. But there are many options in that space that are much cheaper than Clearbit.
Okay, and let's finish up with a few rapid fire questions. Randall's asking, is there a migration tool for ClickUp coming?
There is. So we are working right now on a data import feature that will bring data in from a number of different products like ClickUp. It will allow you to connect to your existing account, see your data. In the case of ClickUp, the different, I can't think if they call them lists or not, but you'll be able to pick those, and then whatever information they make available where we can create those field types and structures inside of SmartSuite, we'll create those and automatically bring your data in all in one click.
Okay, amazing. Next question coming in from Vincent. Are you going to provide hosting in Europe GDPR?
We are. So we're in phase 1 of that. Currently, we are working with AWS, which is our hosting provider and one of their top partners that is helping us prepare for that. And we will be in a position in the 3rd quarter to make a decision on timing of how soon we make that available.
Okay, amazing. Chad is asking, not sure you saw me rephrase question. At the top of columns for field names in grid view, is there plans to wrap the text into 2 lines?
At the top of columns and field names.
I think essentially just being able to put it in lines.
I think this is the first time. I don't think there's anything in the feature request about this. I will take a peek today though and make sure on that.
Okay, I'm loving this rapid fire. So just tell me when to stop. I'm going to keep asking.
All right.
Patrick is asking, would our own logos on forms be possible? Patrick, I believe that's available already.
It is. Yeah. You just go to the top of the form, you click on the logo, and you can put your own logo in. And then we always include a powered by SmartSuite, just a small footer that's there.
Okay, excellent. Paul is asking, what are the odds we will eventually be able to fully customize the layout of an open record? Example, move each field anywhere on the open record instead of locking to a grid view, change any field width, change its text size, move the field label to one side of the field box or another. So it sounds like he wants more customization over the open record view.
Yeah, actually, Paul, we're looking at that. We've been working on a concept of that already. If you see our document designer, it provides exactly that capability. Basically, you have a canvas and you do what you want on the canvas. What we're finding is we're trying to help people make better decisions because sometimes they just don't look great. So we're trying to find the mix between giving you the full canvas and giving you some rules that allow you to maybe have 3 columns of information, and then below that, just a single column, and the next one is 2 column, where things snap the grid, but give you a lot more control over that. So know that it's going to be called custom layout. So right now we do single column, 50-50, 70-30, and this last one will be called custom to do exactly what you're talking about. I don't have an exact delivery date on that, but I can probably by Monday, I could probably give you a time frame where you can understand how soon that could be at.
Okay, amazing. We have another question coming in over here. Can we hide fields from the expanded view similar to the grid view? I think they're talking about the open record page. Can you hide records over there similar to the way you can hide it on grid view?
I think you're talking about the edit record page and probably not having all the fields in the edit record. And yes, that is coming very soon. So you'll be able to go into the page layout. There'll be another tab that's there that shows all the fields that you have in that app. And you'll be able to deselect fields that you don't want to be shown up there. So maybe you have 5 different calculation fields and you just don't want those to ever be in the actual record itself. Those just get turned off. Okay,
amazing. Tom is asking, when are you going public? I want to buy stock.
Great. Yeah, we're not for a while. We're just at the beginning of our journey.
Sounds good. Patrick is asking, oh, there's a question for Layden. Layden asks if there's a plan to increase from 200K records. They have an app for invoices where the number of records in a year surpasses 200,000.
Yeah, our dev team is trying to work a bunch of magic and figure out how to support much larger data sets at the same level of performance that we have today that's there. So I don't have an answer today, but stay tuned because we will have some updates on this very soon.
Okay, I can go on and on.
Let's do two more, Avi.
Okay, sounds good. Mark is asking, will Document Designer soon be out of alpha?
It will. In fact, it's out of alpha. It's in a beta state right now with a number of folks. We'll be changing that pill in the next release that will probably happen next Thursday that's there. And then there's a few features that we want to continue to add. We're going to keep working on that. It's not 100%, but know that it's definitely out of alpha.
Okay, excellent. And Patrick is actually clarifying his question before about adding users from mobile. Patrick is providing clarity. He wants to allow users to sign up from their phones. Currently, you can only sign up from desktop when a user gets a new invite.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm not sure of the answer of that, of where we're at, but I'll get back to Patrick on that.
Excellent. Let's take our last question from Patrick. Can form domains be masked to show a purchase domain? And I'm assuming he wants to put forms on his custom domains.
You can use an embedded form. You don't have to use the form link that comes from us. And that's exactly what that's meant to do. So you just get the embed code from the form, click and add it right to your page.
Okay, very cool. I'll just throw in one last question from Barry. Any thoughts on a customer conference in San Diego later this year or beginning of next year?
I tell you what, if we have enough momentum of people that are interested in attending, we would love to host a conference. We're signing up for a number of conferences this year. I think we're doing DevOps Paris here in about 4 months. Coming into the beginning of the new year, we're doing DevOps in Atlanta, and then some regional things just so we can meet with groups of customers at conferences and give away free tickets to those. But as soon as we think we have enough momentum, we'll definitely start the first annual SmartSuite conference in San Diego. Is not a bad place to think about for sure.
I'm seeing a bunch more votes coming in first.
All right.
So. Okay. Andrea says she's coming. Okay, amazing. Sounds good. I'd like to thank everyone for joining. I'm shocked at how many people stayed. Literally a half an hour overtime. We have about 50% of the attendees who stayed overtime, maybe a little more. And just amazing questions, amazing product feedback, amazing product enhancements. I'm just so excited and can't wait to see you all on the next webinar.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you to everyone for spending an hour and a half with us, and keep those comments coming in the feature requests. We look at that on a daily basis to help understand what moves next into the roadmap. So don't just add them, but vote and comment on the things that you like.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.